You are listening to Peak One Sports.
Welcome to the Bungalow Fight Show. We're back. We were absent last week. That was my fault. But, you know, the fight started at 2 a.m., so I doubt any of you watched it live. So we still put our picks out there.
Yeah.
Hello, Alexis. Thank you for joining me, as always.
What's up?
I was joking on the Bungalow Sports Show yesterday is that Alexis and I took like double shifts on that card. Is that we both had big dreams of being up and watching the whole thing, and Alexis did. Alexis started at 2, and I could not. Yeah. I kept like waking up and looking at my phone and seeing texts from Alexis, and then falling back asleep. And then at about like 5:15, I pulled myself out of bed, went and turned it on, and then started texting Alexis and was getting no responses. So I'm like, I bet he fell asleep. So I'm like, he took the early prelim shift, I took the main card shift, and you know, together we watched the whole card.
We watched the whole card, yeah.
But
I actually tried to make an episode myself, but my dumbass forgot to turn on my interface,
dude.
And so it was just me like silent and just lips flying everywhere.
Hey,
it was so bad.
You're welcome to my world, dude. Yesterday we did the Bungalow Sports Show, and I have like a USB splitter to have all the cameras and everything in the interface plugged into the computer. And one of the USBs must be bad because it kept cutting out after about like 9 minutes. And we recorded a whole hour and 15-minute show, and with only about 12 minutes of audio. And so I had to go back and redo the show. I kept the 12 minutes of Joey in there, and then I had to come in and redo it all. And then I did an interview with Peak One Sports athlete Chad Box, MMA fighter, Muay Thai fighter, all that stuff. And the same thing kept happening, but because it was online, I could tell that the audio kept cutting out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't have time to figure it out, so then I had to switch to my other computer and just do it off the laptop with him to finish it up. And then after, of course, is when I figured out what the problem was, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's all right. We're not getting paid for this shit, so it's okay. We can have these amateur mistakes as long as we're still amateurs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Technically. But shoot, let's get into some topics that we missed out on talking about last week. I know some of it's kind of old news, but we haven't talked about it yet here, so eat it if you don't like it. The Aljo O'Malley card. We came out 6-5. Or no wait. What did we?
No, we're dead even. 5-5.
5-5.
I think.
We do
8-2 on props.
We do 8 picks. Oh, because you're counting the finishes, right? The finish bets too.
Yeah. So wait. Oh yeah. So we are 8.
We were.
No, 5, yeah. Wait. What's that? We can't have an even number.
We're 5-3.
It had to be 5-3.
I think we were 5-3 on the Aljo O'Malley card. I can't find my pen, but either way, after that, I know everybody's already seen the knockout, and we don't have to really talk about a lot of that stuff. I went over it on the Bungalow last week, but Aljo wants a rematch. O'Malley probably doesn't want that rematch. There's bigger fights for him. You know what I mean? There's the storyline fight with Cheeto. There's the storyline fight with Marab. You know what I mean? There's bigger storylines afoot, and O'Malley is, you know, an entertainer and a fighter. So I'm sure those bigger money fights probably, if you know, it's more trash talky if you fight somebody that you haven't beat already, especially with Cheeto, because Cheeto beat him, you know. So
yeah,
well, not according to him.
So that's very interesting. So like, well, the top 3 and 4 fighters are both on had surgery and they're out right now. So that's
right.
Marab and Corey Sandhagen.
Mm-hmm.
They are not going to give Aljo a rematch because a while back, Aljo was giving the UFC crap. And
Yeah, they're not going to do him any favors, you know?
Yeah. And I think that was Aljo's fight to lose, and he did lose it. Dude, if he went in like grappling heavy, I think it would have been a different story. But you know,
right. Well, and that's the thing is that was kind of the way he had to win that fight, and he just stood up a little too long. But honestly, what I was thinking about is I brought it up too on the Bungalow Sports Show, is that video. You know, we made our picks, and obviously we picked Aljo to win that fight. Mm-hmm. But then you sent me that video of him getting kneed in the face a bunch of times on his takedown entrances. And not all of them were knockouts or anything like that, but he did catch a bunch of knees and shit like that. And if you look at the way he got knocked out, even though it wasn't a knee, it was a right hand, and he wasn't going down for a low shot, he had his head up in that same position going. I don't know if he was going to go in for a flurry of punches or he was going to go try to clinch against the cage. Yeah. But it was almost the same scenario because he had his head straight up and got clipped with that right hand. So it was like that video you sent was almost like a precursor to kind of a version of what actually happened. He didn't go low for a double leg and get kneed in the face. He went high, but still had his head up in that position and got clipped on the chin. So watch those videos, man. Go on TikTok and they'll give you some insight. There's bigger nerds than us that put together some very interesting stuff.
Spend all day doing that, and
picking apart fights and pieces of fights and shit like that, and that's what made me put a O'Malley KO bet at the very and even though I bet on Aljo just because of our picks and a money line, I put a O'Malley KO bet, and that one paid off. So, but congrats, Sean O'Malley. I mean, Aljo, as legit as they come. You know, top of the food chain at bantamweight history, just because of the people he's beat and stuff like that. So even though he's not a straight up striker, O'Malley, I mean, that's still a big deal that O'Malley was able to put him out like that. I still want to see somebody. I want to see Merab go in there and wrestle the shit out of him and see if he can still do the same thing in a match where he does get wrestled.
Yeah, I want to see that as well. My thing is, so like I did the last podcast we did, I was like, Aljo won me over, right? And it reminded me back when like Chris Weidman beat Vitor Belfort and he got on the mic, he's like, stop doubting me, right? Mm-hmm. And then he goes and fights Luke Rockhold and get flatlined pretty much the next fight. Right. This is literally like almost the same situation.
I was thinking that too, is like, damn, he just won over Alexis and now he went right back to the end of the line again, man. You just, damn it, Aljo. Like, why you got to do that to yourself, man? Before we move on, hold on. Well, before we move on, I got to say, this show is brought to you by Betalytics. Go to Betalytics.com and start a profile, 25% off with code PEAK1. It's helping a lot of people out there. We say it all the time. They don't do MMA, but if you bet on other sports, they are a good tactic, a good tool for your tool belt if you're trying to make educated bets. We're also brought to you by League Swipe. I had my first fantasy draft yesterday. Alexis is going to have his first ever here coming up in a week or so. If you're a commissioner of a fantasy league out there, it doesn't matter what sport, it can be a headache, especially if you're, there's people who are as big of nerds about fantasy as we are about MMA, and they have some real complicated leagues out there and complicated payouts, and it's not just an end of the year payout of a big lump sum. They do weekly payouts, different challenges throughout the season, and if it's a headache, go to League Swipe, see what they can offer you. Okay, back to the topics. Yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say before I interrupted?
I was going to talk about like the O'Malley situation. So like, I already mentioned the two next in line that should probably get a title fight are on medical suspensions right now.
Right.
I'm pretty sure they are gonna do Cheeto, right? That's gonna be.
I mean, it's got to be right. It's not gonna be Cejudo. No way.
No, it's not gonna be Cejudo. I'm pretty sure UFC is gonna milk the marketing golden goose egg that is Sean O'Malley.
Right.
Before Merab and Sandhagen are ready to come back. So my thoughts are he's going to fight Cheeto.
Yeah.
They're going to throw Font in there because Font did him a solid.
Okay.
Taking the Sandhagen fight, right?
Right. And
they're going to have Merab and Sandhagen fight each other for the title. for the
title shot.
eliminator.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good prediction, because the Cheeto thing, especially, obviously, he's up there. He deserves a shot at the title. But they have a storyline, one, because he's, the only guy to beat O'Malley since he's been in the UFC, and he did beat him. O'Malley had one of those weird ankle things that we've seen, like Michael Chandler and a few other people got that dead leg type of nerve injury during the fight, and kind of put him to his back, and
Cheeto did that to him,
of course. When people, but that's the thing, and that's where the story, the O'Malley ball riders, they're riding with him, because O'Malley's like, I didn't lose that fight. I wasn't able to fight. Kind of a weird, that weird thing. But it's like, no, you got kicked in the right spot and it shut your foot off. Like, so Anderson Silva's leg broke in half. Chris Weidman's leg broke in half. Did they not get beat? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they had an injury that made them stop fighting. So that just creates more eyeballs and more turmoil and more promo. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think Cheeto gets the next one. Also from that card, the other big story was Ian Gary. And I know he hasn't won over Alexis yet either, and definitely not going to win him over in a decision over Neil Magny, where you should have finished him. Dude, definitely. Even if it wasn't a knockout or a sub, you should have kicked his leg should have been broken. Like, his leg was so fucked up, all you had to do was just keep, Aldo Faber his leg, and he wasn't going to last that whole fight. He didn't, once the leg was obviously injured, just go for it. You know what I mean? But I don't know why he went that route, and kind of, I feel like he let that thing go to his decision,
Yeah, that was literally Ian Gary's fight the whole way. I have a feeling that Magny went in injured already.
And short notice,
The first leg kick, literally just, that was it. That was done.
Oh, yeah, you could tell. It was, the first leg kick dropped him. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was just like, it's going to be one of those nights.
Normal. And I was like, fuck, man. I was like, Neil Magny, gosh. But
there's a goddamn mosquito in here. See this? He's been in here since yesterday, and I kept thinking I got him, but I didn't get him.
Yeah, and I don't know, for being a prospect and stuff like that, he is a great fighter. To be honest, the only thing that really bothers me about Ian Gary is that he's like Joe Biden in the 80s, ripping off Conor McGregor's speeches, everything word for word.
Right. And exactly.
I can get behind him because of his style, and he's great. His boxing's great. I don't really see much of his wrestling. His takedown defense is decent from what I see, but the fact that he is look what Conor said here on UFC versus whatever. He's like, Conor said this. Okay, I'm gonna say that.
Right.
That's what I don't like.
No originality. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's just like he's combining that with and maybe this is me being old curmudgeon, but the newer wave, these younger fighters coming up, and it even goes out into this whole Logan Paul versus Dylan Tannis thing, the shit talking that they're doing is so personal and so almost unneeded. You know what I mean? It's I'm all about shit talking and all about building up a fight. But dude was wearing Jeff Neal's mugshot on a t-shirt and shit that, and it's just okay, I'm trying not to be a stuffy old man, you know what I mean? But at a certain point, it's but does that have anything to do with the fight? You know what I mean? And it's are you just, I don't know. I'm trying to get down with it, but it's these young kids, man, there's no line that they won't cross, and it's even you used to think Chael Sonnen and McGregor were the line crossers, but even their shit is tame compared to some of the stuff that these younger guys are doing and talking about people's families and shit like that. And it's just God damn it. It's becoming a little bit of a circus when it comes to the promo for some of these younger guys and their fights. And I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I think Ian Gary, that's another hype train UFC is going to ride till the wheels fall off.
So he did call out Wonder Boy, which I think Wonder Boy's not going to take that fight.
He definitely shouldn't. Why the fuck would Wonder Boy take that fight unless they force him into it? It might, and with the whole turmoil with Wonder Boy and the pay and all that shit from the last fight, I could see the UFC saying, well, this is the only fight we're going to give you. I think that's the only way that fight gets made is if that's basically the UFC saying, fuck you, Wonder Boy. Like, you want to get paid? You're fighting this guy. Otherwise, you can sit on the bench, And
because I think that fight is like the easiest win for Ian Gary.
Right.
Because once you get past Wonder Boy, like they're going to do next, number 6 is Shavkat.
Right. Yeah, then it gets real. It gets real after you get past Wonder Boy. It's not Neil Magny. It's not Neil Magny, and that's what seeing him not be able to finish Neil Magny in the state that Neil was in, partially through, halfway through the first round, Neil should have been finished, or at least it should have been a lot more dominating than it was.
Dude, Neil should have came out like Zhang Wei Li.
Right.
And put dude on the floor and just like fucking held him there.
Right.
Like,
but that's the thing is we haven't even seen Gary's like ground game, and obviously he took on the name Machado, so he better have some kind of a fucking ground game. Yeah. But like, we need to see it, and Neil Magny would have been the perfect guy for us to see it. Even if he beat Magny, I feel like Magny, that was his only chance, was to go in there and wrestle him and put on a good show that way. And at least we would have got to see what Gary has to offer on the ground. But, we didn't see that. We didn't see a finish. So, I feel for Wonder Boy, because at this point he's 40 years old. He's still top 5. You know what I mean? And it's like, of course you don't want to fight Ian Gary. Like, right? Like, because you lose that fight, then you're never getting a title shot after that. You're 40 years old. It's got to be above you in the rankings, for him to accept it on good terms. So I think the way we see that fight, which is probably going to happen, is the UFC is going to force him into it, I think.
Yeah.
What else? Little Tony Ferguson getting mad at everybody saying he should retire, which is crazy. Like, and that's the same thing with Weidman. Both of them got fucking annihilated, and then both are like, don't tell me to retire. I'm coming back better than ever. And it's like, how many times?
Weidman's going to be out for a whole ass year
after
this fight because he messed up his other leg.
Which is just like, fucking quit, dude. Like, there's like there's a really funny, whatever you want to call it, interesting storyline in the NFL. Vontae Davis, right? He was a linebacker, and he basically signed with a new team. I think it was the Indianapolis Colts, and like halftime of the first game of the season, he just retired. Right? Because he was just like, oh, okay, I'm dead. Nah, I'm done. You know what I mean? And he just retired, which is fine. And it's like, but it's like with these guys, like Ferguson and a Weidman, it's just like halfway through that, like you're got your broken leg in the back and your supposed good leg in the front, and it's getting fucked up. As soon as that leg was fucked, Weidman should have just put his hand up and been like, okay, I retire. Like, it's just like, fighters can't do it. You know what I mean? They just can't fucking do it. They all think they're going to be able to get that last win and go, you know what I mean? Like, I have all.
It doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah. And to move into UFC Singapore from this last weekend, that's why if you didn't already have respect for the Korean Zombie, you got to have more for the way he went out, because in that fight, in that second round, I guarantee you the reason he came out guns blazing, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, is because he knew he wasn't going to beat Max Holloway after the first round.
Yeah.
Right? Because Max is Max. Max is unbeatable unless your name is Volkanovski. You know what I mean? And after that first round, he got pieced up and he said, fuck it. This is my last fight, win or lose. I'm not going to beat this guy, so let's just go out and give him a good show for the next 30 seconds. And he got clipped, he got knocked out, and then he fucking retired like a goddamn man. So win, lose, or draw, that has no bearing on it. It's like, how did you finish your career? You know what I mean? The Zombie's he went out on a knockout loss, but he went out zombie style, and I guarantee you he did that because after that first round, he was just gonna get pieced up for another 4 rounds. And it was going to be a one-sided decision, and who fuck wants to go out like that, getting your ass beat for 25 minutes? So let's just go out here. Maybe I'll catch him, maybe I won't, and I'll get put to sleep. It'll be over. Everybody else. It's kind of like what we say about the Diazes. It's like when you fight like that, win, lose, or draw, you're not losing any fans. And when it's your last fight, it's in Asia, it's all these things going for you. It's like he did it the right way. Go out there again, and it's a Hall of Famer and Max Holloway. Nobody's gonna hold it against you in your career for getting knocked out by Max Holloway. So let's go out here and fucking bang. You give everybody a show, and that's what he did. And I feel like if Ferguson and Weidman would do that, they could have done that in their last fight. But Weidman just kept trying to do this weird game plan where he just kept getting his fucking leg kicked off. And it's like, fuck it, dude. Just go in there and start throwing leather, and maybe you knock him out. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe you get knocked out, but either way, you're still going to lose. So it's like,
why are you trying to strike? Why don't you fucking wrestle?
That's the thing with Tony and with Weidman. It's like, Tony, you got some of the best submissions in the UFC. Like, what
Tony, Tony, I could still see him having another fight because after that eye poke, it was everything.
Sure, no, you're right. He did look like gave us a flash of vintage Tony until that eye poke. So okay, Tony, I'll give you one more shot before I write you off.
One more fight, Tony. But Weidman looked like crap from the beginning.
Yeah, Weidman's done. And the thing about Tony is like, what? He's still talking like he's just going to keep going. It's like, make it one more fight. Tell everybody you're retiring, because like, even if you are to win another fight, it's not like Tony's ever going to get a title shot. You know what I mean? So it's like, because once he gets up high enough to get an eliminator, he's going to get annihilated by who's ever up there. So it's like, go take a lower ranked guy, make it your last fight, help get with the UFC and pick a guy who you can have a favorable, or at least a fight where you can fight your fight. You know what I mean? A guy that's going to go out there and just throw it all to the wind, and you guys can go out there and bang it out, and maybe you win, maybe you don't, but have a Korean Zombie type end to your career. Because Tony's one of those guys who can have that type of end to his career because he's a guy whose fighting style, that's why he's popular. You know what I mean? Is because he just went on such a run and just had a fan-friendly fighting style. And if you just go out there and do that and still get knocked out or still lose or whatever, it's still fine to go out like that. But he seems like a guy who's going to refuse to retire until they cut him or until he gets a win, which I don't know is going to happen at this point.
Yeah, we'll see how.
But fucking Weidman needs a wheelchair and to shut the fuck up is what Weidman needs. Like, because Jesus Christ, dude, like, we all saw it. We all saw what happened. It's not like it's not out there for everyone to see. But
Conor McGregor, take notes, man.
Right. So,
dude, okay.
Oh yeah.
Since I just mentioned Conor McGregor. So we were texting back and forth about O'Malley after he won. I was like, hopefully UFC drops Conor McGregor, and they fucking doubled down, dude. They did. Doubled down. December. It's just like, how? And it's what we always say. It's like, how is the UFC writing this? It's still happening train, but how are fans still buying into it? Like, as long as USADA still has jurisdiction to drug test these guys, there's still a window that he has to get into, and it's like, we were past that window 2 months ago. And they're still saying December. They're still saying, whatever. And it's like, they're just a bunch of clowns. Like, I don't know. I guess it gets them clicks, right? They're making money off their social media. Dude, like, I feel like O'Malley could be a lot bigger, Mm-hmm. Instead of like riding the coattails of Conor, you'd be like, okay, Conor, we don't need you anymore. That's exactly what should happen. We have Ian Gary. We have Sean O'Malley. Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah, we got Ian Gary. Both of them equals one of you. Right. Well, and if you look at it, if they put all their promotional ducks, into an Ian Gary, into a Sean O'Malley, into an Izzy, you know what I mean? Yes. It's just,
there's so many guys that have that potential, and they're younger than Conor. They have a better social media. I mean, Conor's obviously gigantic, so it's like he's surpassed the UFC in popularity. But it's like he started at the bottom too, so it's like O'Malley's already got a huge following. So if you buy into that and feed into his following he already has, I don't know. I feel like they, for some reason, really just want Conor to fight. I don't know. I think Conor loses whoever he fights, and if people don't know that already, like, I just don't think he's fighting again. I'm still on that train. I don't think he's fighting again.
Yeah, we'll see it.
I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah.
I'll believe it. Yeah.
Day of the fight. No, you're right.
That's the only fight I want Chandler to win, and then I want Chandler to lose the rest of his UFC fights.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I don't want him. I don't want him to fight Chandler, because if he fights Chandler, then Joey wins. Joey keeps harping on this, that this Chandler fight's actually going to happen, and I'm like, no, it ain't.
Yeah,
it ain't. It ain't happening.
Joey, yeah.
All right, let's talk about our picks from UFC Singapore. We went 6-2. We're just, ever since we started making these picks, man, we're doing pretty damn well. And we went
6-2, and then 3-3 on props.
3-3 on props, and I will like to say that some of the losses in the props, we still won on those money lines. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we just got a decision rather than a finish or what have you.
Nakamura, dude. Well, Fernie Garcia, it's a Mexican. I should have known right away. I was like, he's gonna get fucking beat, and he's not gonna go out.
Yeah, like, yeah. Well, because we had a KO on that one, and then he put him in an arm triangle at a certain point, and I was like, no, like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, fucking 5:30 in the morning with a cup of coffee, and I'm in my underwear on the couch, fucking screaming, and it's just like, it's like, no, but yeah, we're moving right along, dude. I mean, we already talked about the Holloway zombie fight. Well, Wiley is just she's an animal, dude.
Amazing.
I want to see the Tati fight. You know what I mean? I want to see the Tatiana Suarez. That's the only fight I want to see in that division. Yeah,
and like, again, like, you know, I think the stand-up will be way in Whaley's favor, but I want to see that grappling
match. Right, because just the strength of Wiley, and she's just like, I mean, she's obviously much smaller than Ronda, but the way at the beginning of Ronda's career when she was just ragdolling chicks around, like, it's like another level. I don't know if it's just strength or tenacity or what it is, but she just makes these chicks look like they don't belong in there. And the Rose fight, I think, was a fluke, and obviously we're not going to get a rematch because Rose is moving up in weight. So unless Wiley moves up, we're not going to see that rematch. But I think that was a fluke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think she's just so dominant, dude. If she beats Tatiana Suarez, she is the best one. She's top 3 best female fighters of all time. If she can,
for sure, man.
Just in the pure dominance, like, it's crazy. Like, you can win fights, but when you just make the other person look stupid, you know what I mean? Like, I don't. People win, people lose in fights. I don't necessarily feel. I'll feel sorry for a guy if I like his backstory or think he's a nice person when they lose. But Amanda Lemos, I felt bad. Just like, I felt like even though she wasn't getting finished, I was just like, they just need to stop this because it's embarrassing. Like, you know what I mean? It should have been
stopped in, I think, the first or second round when she was eating like 7 unanswered strikes.
Dude. Yeah, and I'm just like, I would have thrown in the towel just out of sheer embarrassment because it looked like amateur versus a pro, you know. Well, and like,
if you look at, like, if you do MMA math and you look at Amanda Lemos's last fights, like against Jessica Andrade, that was, I think, I don't know if she won. I don't even have to tap up.
Yeah, she beat Andrade.
Yeah, I know she beat Andrade, but I don't know if she took another fight after that.
No, I think she waited. She waited for this title shot.
Off a loss. Fuck.
I don't know, dude. But that's
I'm just saying, like, it's not like much because, like, Weili kills Andrade. She's gonna do the same to Lemos. Like, every girl in that division, unless you're Suarez, which you have, like, on paper the most odds of a chance to actually, like, give her some competition, no one else is gonna have that.
Right. No, I mean, that's just kind of the bottom line there, is like, it's getting to the point where like, there's been plenty of times in different weight classes across the board where a champ has been so dominant that you don't even give a fuck. You know, GSP fighting Josh Koscheck. You know what I mean? Things like that. Like, it's just like, okay, like, I get it. Like, what else do we have here? But going into it knowing that there's just no way this guy beats him. You know what I mean? Or just different than Damian Maia, Anderson Silva. There's been, like, some performances by champions where you're like, okay, well, there's really nobody else for you to fight. Like, and I think Tati's that last one. If she gets over that hump, she gets on the GOAT status for women, and there's nobody else, literally nobody else worth a fight. So maybe she does need to move up and go rematch Rose or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this week's fight card coming up here. UFC Fight Night France. They're in Paris. We got local boy Cyril Gane versus Sergey Spivak. I get it. You got to move the divisions along and everything, but this is just one of those fights where it's just like, who gives a fuck who wins this fight? Like, who cares? Like, because I don't know. It's just not inspiring. But honestly, too, we got Rose coming up in this one too, at her flyweight debut. Let's start. I don't know. What do we got? Any prelims we want to talk about?
So Farid Basharat, that's a guy I would keep an eye on. He's been great the past couple fights. I think the last fight he went to was a decision, but he's a finisher. Clayton Rodriguez is pretty good, so I mean, that could be a fun fight.
Yeah, I agree there. And that's a good one to start it off with. I mean, Basharat's a pretty heavy favorite in that one, so but Clayton's a gamer. What do we got? Angelusa, Reese McKee. You hear a lot about Reese McKee a little bit, but he's a dog in that one.
And then 3, who did he fight?
Just a lot of they put a lot of French fighters, a lot of no names on here, just local stuff to sell some tickets, I'd imagine.
Yeah, because so he I guess, I mean, like, if I was gonna pick anything, like, Rise McGee is just there for Lusa's win.
Right,
you know?
I think that's what it is. And you see that a lot when you got like a card where they're just putting a lot of local flavor on there. You see it a lot in like the British cards and stuff where it's like, we're gonna put this guy on here and give him this guy, so hopefully he can get a win in front of the home crowd. And because they go to these other places and they're just trying to build popularity there. So the UFC arguably wants the hometown guys to win just to, get the crowd amped up and bring more eyeballs. Got some female fights in there that nobody cares about.
Yeah, Jocelyn Edwards. I mean, which she got taken out by Molly McCann.
She did. Oh, yeah. That's right. That's like when your claim to fame is getting beat by Molly McCann, you're in trouble. But she's fighting a black silhouette in Nora Cornhole. I don't know. Okay. Zahara Fairn? That's another Frenchie versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti, who's a silhouette.
Oh, never mind. That's not her. There was this one chick that came off the Contender Series that was like ridiculously like powerful, and just like flatlines women. But it's not her.
No, it's not her.
Because she went up against Verna Jandarova and just got fucking manhandled on the floor.
Right.
Girl, and
well, we got here Taylor Lapilus versus Muin Gafarov.
Tajikistan for the win, dude.
Yeah, Tajikistan for the win. If it's a Stan versus a French fighter, I'm going Stan all the way, dude. Dude, this fight card might have the most black silhouettes I know you can't see the graphics right now, but this
I'm looking at the same page because Tapology hasn't updated it, so it's like
it's so
what
many.
the hell? Yeah.
Like, it's just like we can't even talk about this shit. They don't even have odds for them. They don't have nothing. What do we got?
I'll do research on the way. We'll do picks and I'll like solidify later on.
Yeah.
Who is it? Morgan Charrer? Is that how you say Sharai?
Cherie. Zucchini.
I can't even see like how they're like
the first fight on the main card has double silhouettes, dude. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Okay, so judging Fate Ireland right here.
Well, because that's what Cowlin Loughran. He's got a hype train from Ireland. It can't be that big of a hype train, UFC, if you don't have a fucking picture for him. But I've read a few articles on this guy. I've seen a few highlights and stuff. So he's like kind of the next Ian Geary that they're trying to, prop up from Ireland. So we'll see how that goes. But how am I supposed to break this fight down with a silhouette and no odds, motherfuckers? Like, what are we doing here? Let's get our. It's like the UFC doesn't even give a fuck about this card. Yeah. Okay, so now we got some real guys here. We got William Gomez and Lucas Almeida, featherweight bout. Gomez is the favorite, slight favorite, but I don't know. I kind of like Lucas Almeida in this one a little bit, but
I think Almeida is better. What does he want against Marshall?
This is one where like. They're probably trying, because he's coming off a loss, they're probably trying to get Gomez a win, being that he's French. But this is one of those that screams like he's not going to win. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Almeida, I mean, just in my book, even it's plus 140 to minus 166. So it's not like it's a crazy odd difference, but
yeah,
I think.
So, what is it? Almeida has 9 wins by knockout. Gomi has 10 wins by knockout.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't seen much of Gomi though to even like.
Right, and it's so evenly matched. I feel like it's this has upset for the French crowd written all over it for me. Yeah. Then we got the return of Volkan Ozdemir. He hasn't fought in a minute. He's coming off a loss, fighting a guy in his debut in Bogdan Guskov. So,
Where's this guy? Bogdan?
I don't know. He's a silhouette, Alexis. Who fucking knows? It's just like, Jesus Christ.
That fucking name, dude, screams something that he's gonna do some damage, but
yeah, I mean, he's 14-2. He's making his debut. It's just the thing that pisses me off is like if the UFC is going to go out of their way to make these breakdowns of these cards, it's like how hard would it be to get this guy's stats?
Yeah.
Like how hard would it be? Somebody at the UFC is paid to make this fucking webpage and build these cards on here. One Google search could give you some information to put on here. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, all things being equal, I think I don't know. Volkan's on. He's on the way down. You know what I mean? He had a
couple. Or his last fight out was pretty good.
He lost though. You know what I mean?
Did he lose?
Yeah, he's coming off a loss.
Oh.
And he, I think he's just one of those guys who's not well rounded enough. He's got to get out there, and I think he's got to put you away quick. No time style. I always hated his stupid little no time.
Yeah.
He's got to come out there and put you away quick. Otherwise, he's in trouble, I think. So even though he's a silhouette, I think I'm going Bogdan Guskov just based off his name. I think he wrestles the shit out of him. Even though I have no idea who he is.
He's from the Czech area because his nickname is Czech. I just don't want to. Don't want to try to pronounce it or butcher it.
Yeah,
but
like me.
Okay, Guskov. I'm gonna go.
We're going Guskov. Lightweight bout: Benoit Saint Denis versus Thiago Moises. Both these guys coming off pretty big wins.
Yeah.
The
Saint Denis man has been solid as an underdog for me. Every time he's been an underdog, I've picked him.
Yeah.
I don't like him as a favorite.
Okay. What do we got on odds? He's minus 135 on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of a toss up for me because, like you said, Denis been solid, but Moises has been solid as well. Yeah, I think I lean toward Moises on this one. I guess I'm going anti-France on this freaking card because
anti-France parlay.
The anti-France parlay. Yeah, this is the WW2 card, dude. This is all right. Yeah, fucking. What do you think? You think Moises? Or you think Saint Denis? I know it's hard to bet against the guy who's won you some money, but like you said, this is
he's always been like 3-1 underdog,
right?
3-1, 4-1, and like pulling out like these amazing wins and finishes.
And now he's a slight favorite, and it's a little bit apprehensive, you know.
Yeah. Wait, hold on there. Like that doesn't seem like.
But you also got to think maybe because he's only a slight favorite. Maybe he's just getting the hometown rub. You know what I mean? Like so maybe in real terms, you dig down deep, he's still the dog. He's just got a few extra points because it's home, and the odds makers are giving him that hometown rub. So this one's kind of a pick 'em for me. Yeah. But God, I don't know. I'm going Saint Denis. I think we should go Saint Denis on this one.
I'm gonna. Yeah, all right.
Okay, sorry. No anti-France. What do we got? All right, moving in. Co-main event, women's flyweight, the debut of Rose Namajunas versus Manon Fiorot.
Does Fiorot have a good ground game?
Fiorot does have a good ground game.
Like Carlos Esparza-ish, where Rose is not going to engage with you the whole fight?
Well, no, I'm looking at it here. She's a 50-50 split in her wins. 55% KO, 45% decisions, no sub wins.
I've never seen a Manon Fiorot fight where she wins by KO. I've always seen the highlights, but I've never seen them.
That must be pre UFC because in the UFC she's also got a 0 knockdown average. So, that maybe she just wins by ground and pound. Those are TK. Maybe they're TKOs and not KOs.
Okay, that's okay.
But I just see. I mean, Rose is just as well rounded as it gets. I know she's coming off a loss, but she's moving up. Not as harsh of a weight cut. And I have a hard time betting against Rose Namajunas. She's just solid. And any chick who's
the dog right now, dude.
Yeah, and any chick who's willing to shave her head for the betterment of the game, I'll bet on you every time. Because that's a tough look. You know what I mean?
Very made her shave her head.
You know, he made her. He fucking tied her down. Shave your head. Your bangs are getting in your face.
Yeah. You don't need hair to make you look beautiful. You look beautiful the way you are.
That's right. And she's my Lithuanian sister too. You know what I mean? So it's hard. I got a soft spot for these Lithuanians, but
yeah,
you know, I just want to see her be successful, and seeing her climb the ranks at flyweight would be nice to see her kind of get her. Maybe she becomes a 2-time champ, 2 different weight classes. That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
So I think I don't know. I think we should go Rose on that one.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't think like Fiorot's number 2 in the flyweight division. Like how?
Right, that she kind of came out of nowhere. You know what I mean with that ranking. I mean she is 10-1, so.
Yeah, I mean, okay, well, but like with the fights that I've seen like gone to decision, Rose does go to decision sometimes, but she is primarily like more of a finisher.
Right.
Like everything like power and everything falls on Rose's side.
I think so.
I mean, yeah, I'm definitely taking Rose, especially at her being the dog.
Hell yeah. First
fight, the new division. Fuck yeah. Let's go Rose.
Let's go Rose. All right, and then we got our super awesome main event. Cyril Gahn versus Sergey Spivak. One of our only Moldovan fighters on the roster in the UFC. Both these guys are just a little uninspiring. in the heavyweight division with kind of all the movement and shit that's going on there now, and John Jones back in the mix, and Stipe back in the mix, and what do you think? The winner of this fight, what happens for them next? What do you think?
Okay. So, first of all, what I've said about Spivak in the past still applies to what I'm going to, regardless of my picks today. I'm going to pick Spivak and his conehead teeth to win.
Yeah, he does have conehead teeth, dude.
Only because Cyril Gane has no ground game to save his life.
Yeah, zero.
Yeah, and like we saw, Francis Ngannou didn't have that much of a ground game, and used it against Cyril.
Mopped him up,
and then John Jones, who has obviously like one of the best freaking wrestling in the light heavyweight division.
Yeah, and now the heavyweight division. Yeah. And just
now
mopped him up in 30 seconds or whatever the fuck it was. Like,
yeah, pretty much. Just like climbed on top of him.
Mm-hmm. And finished a submission in a position where like no one gets finished. You know what I mean? He didn't even. I mean, he obviously had a tight fucking guillotine on him, but it's like, dude, like any other fighter probably would have got out of that before you got into the finishing position. You know, where he had him smashed up against the cage and all that stuff. And it's just like, Spivak's just gonna go out there and he's gonna ground fight him. And and I see it happening. I see Gane losing the way he's lost those last two fights, either getting
okay. Okay, so now Spivak's gonna win, right? That's gonna bring him up not to number 2, but I'm pretty sure like it'll be Cyril Gane versus Tom Aspinall or something like that.
Right?
Would that be? Yeah, that would be something like.
I think Tom Aspinall actually called out Cyril Gane. He was after he won that last fight. He said something like, you know, you win that fight in France and then we fight, kind of a thing. But I don't think Gane's gonna win this fight. And if he doesn't win this fight, does Tom Aspinall still want to fight him? Like, is that because then what does it do for Tom Aspinall? Because
I mean, well, so like, say they would replace each other in the rankings, right? So either way,
right.
Whoever wins here and Tom Aspinall gets either the two on this card right here, it's still a win for Tom Aspinall.
I think, yeah, easily. I mean, God, I would hate to say Sergey Spivak gets a title shot with a win, but I mean, who's gonna fight John Jones? I think John Jones beats Stipe, obviously.
Yeah.
Who is he gonna fight next, or is he gonna retire? Like I said.
Dude,
you know?
I was like always like looked at this and I was like, I talked to my buddy Carl about it, who's like he has a gym and
he's got his finger on the pulse.
Yeah, got his finger on the pulse. If you see him on UFC embedded clips and all that stuff. But he made a really good point because I was like, yeah, I want to see John Jones versus Sergey Pavlovich. I want to see, you know, him versus Tom Aspinall. And he's like, yeah, those are the fights you want to see. Yeah. Does that do anything for John Jones and his legacy?
No, not at all.
So he's going to beat Stipe and he's going to retire.
And see, I think, and so I just had this epiphany. John Jones beats Stipe, retires in New York, and then we see the winner of this fight versus Tom Aspinall for the vacant title.
Yeah. And you know what? I hope it's Cyril Gane. God. Because that's such an easier fight for Tom Aspinall.
No, you're right. I think Tom Aspinall wins either way. But, I mean, he gets Gane. It's just Gane's going to get Gane by Tom Aspinall. But I don't know. So what do you think? We thinking Sergey Spivak on this one, right?
Yeah, I'm taking Sergey Spivak. Dude, he's like... His fight style is really dirty. Like, and like, I like Cyril Gane's fight style as well too. He's like very lacking in the wrestling.
It's just, and it doesn't matter what it used to be, especially at the heavier weights. You didn't have to be as well rounded if you were really good at one of the aspects of mixed martial arts. But even at heavyweight now, you got to be fucking well rounded once you hit the top 5. You just have to be. There's no way. And it's like, you can keep a top 5 spot at number 5, number 4, number 6. You know, you can keep those spots as Cyril Gane, because once he loses to Spivak, he'll fight somebody that's 6-10, and maybe he'll knock him out or whatever. You know what I mean? But
Yes.
that top 5, top 4, there's no way that you're gonna have success unless you have a ground game, and that's just not Cyril Gane's bag. And he's old dog new trick shit. It's not like he's gonna become a wrestler anytime soon. So
yeah, yeah, dude, I hate fucking picking. Like, I hate picking Spivak, but
well, I hate picking either of these guys, but gotta do what we gotta do here, bud. And I think the smart choice here would be Spivak, especially money line. I wouldn't necessarily put a prop on this one.
Yeah, fuck that, dude.
But I mean, I wouldn't put a prop. I think all this shit's money line. You know what I mean? Because
yeah, I you know what? Actually, like, I would take the sprinkle on Denise within a distance submission.
Okay.
And then a finish with Basharat.
All right. Well, I tell you what, dude, just to take the pressure off you right now, and we are recording this on Monday, and these fights aren't till Saturday, so a lot can happen in that amount of time. And we're going to post our picks on Thursday, as we normally do when this show comes out. So let's not give our picks right now. We'll give old Alexis some time to do some more digging in some of these, since we got
How
a pick.
about this? Okay, so we'll, along with this podcast, there'll be like a Instagram video, whatever.
Okay.
TikTok, whatever,
I like that.
Announcing my picks, this style with the mic, and I'll
I like that. That's a good idea.
My picks when I do my research and stuff.
That's a good idea. Maybe that should be our new thing, because we do record these earlier in the week. So maybe on Thursday, like after the show comes out, you can come out with a little video that we'll put on our Instagram stories and reels and shit like that of your picks, and we'll release the graphic and all that, because it's just crazy how things change from a Monday to a Friday with these fights and injuries and just little backstories and stuff that happen.
Yeah.
So
because we usually do these on Tuesdays, and like most of it's pretty like well solidified. Like, you have everything, but today I think Monday is like everybody's like,
yeah, but you know what? It's just like that Aljo O'Malley, and then you send me that goddamn video right after we make our picks, and it's just like, motherfucker, like, god damn it, like, because then it's like a little earworm. It just gets in your head, and you can't forget that, oh shit, he might get knocked out, son of a bitch.
Okay, so I'll give you my 100% right now that I'm still that probably might not change would be Basharat, Rose, Denise, Saint Denis, and Spivak. Those are probably not going to change.
Okay, I like that. I like that. And you know what the funny part is like, most of those are the only ones with actual pictures on the website. So that'll if that's how you want to do it, don't pick the shadow. But yeah. All right, dude. Alexis has got to do some daddy duties. I've got to do some work duties. Thank you for joining me this early in the week, Alexis.
Yeah,
but I wanted to make sure we could get one in, because I had time today, because my work schedule got screwed up, which means later in the week it will be jam-packed most likely, and I would probably miss a show again. So I'm glad we got this done. And you're watching this, if you're watching this on Thursday evening, go online, go on our IG, go on Bungalow Sports Show IG, and look for our picks, look for Alexis's video, and it'll all be up there. So thanks, buddy. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you guys for listening, and enjoy the fight.
See you guys later.